All right, I got called out here. There was a thread on the underground, and it has to do with a Twitter tirade that Dan Hooker went on. And Dan Hooker said, hey, he's talking to Islam. Called him straight out to Islam. Tagged USADA in this. Tagged the UFC in it. I'm going to change some of the profanity and just tell you, Hooker is maintaining that he has been told by a medical professional, in this case a nurse, that the nurse administered an IV to Islam after the weigh-ins and prior to the fight. Now, what would happen? That's what I got asked. I just get asked, Chael, what would happen? Now, I have to refresh my own memory on this, because very much contrary to what most people believe, you were always allowed to use an IV. And it came down to the milligrams, right? Nobody knew how to cheat. I don't see USADA make very many mistakes. This is the biggest mistake USADA's ever made. Them banning IVs, now they have just told the world how you beat them. Set that aside. BJ Penn went into the emergency room, and he was given an IV. And as soon as you get in an emergency room, it wouldn't matter if your leg was cut off. It would not matter at all. Your hair could be on fire. Any emergency room in America, they will put an IV in your arm. Instantly, and act as though they've already figured out you're dehydrated. Just accept that and let it go. That's what they did to BJ Penn. So BJ was doing a drug test, and they asked him prior to the drug test, they say, have you done an IV lately? And BJ told the truth. He said, yes, I have. Okay, great. But now they need to know how many milligrams. If it was 30 or under, fine. We just move on with our day. If it was over 30, you're going to be in violation of USADA. I don't know. Let's call hey guys, how many milligrams did you give me? It was all straight. It was all above board. It was BJ not understanding the rules. Then in fairness, acting very honorably when he did. Didn't try to skate anything, just said it was, and he took a hit. BJ was suspended. BJ has a notch on his record, and that matters because you only get 3. 3 of them you get a lifetime ban. So BJ Penn, who's never used a PED, isn't even accused of it. Just a form of administration that apparently went above the allotment of what I believe was 30 milligrams, and they flagged him. It's important that you understand that. So here's where I want to go with this, though. I believe somewhere after that, they just banned IV completely. Guys were starting to understand I can get an IV, and then when I'm asked how many milligrams, give the right answer. It could have been 100 milligrams, guys. It could be 10 milligrams. You get my point. There was a threshold. And my memory, I'm going off of memory, says that got changed and there's no IVs at all. So, I'm going to talk to you from that perspective. I believe they banned them completely. So, if Islam was to have gotten an IV, now that's a big if, because where'd they do it? I mean, that's going to be a really big deal. Where did they do it? Did they put it in this arm? Did they put it in this arm? Did they come over the top of your hand? It's a really big one. Because people will simply look at you. Islam was on television the next day. It was called The Fight. And we could stop any one of those stills and we could zoom in and he's either got a mark there or he doesn't. Real straightforward. So I guess we would start with that. If we then had a medical professional, in this case a nurse, who was coming out and saying, I did it, and I will sign here under swear testimony. In America, we take their license away quickly. That would be a HIPAA violation. That would be beyond inappropriate if a nurse did that. In Australia, I don't know. I would probably think the same thing. If I was to guess, that did not happen. If I was to get, and you're talking to a cheater, guys. You're talking, I can't think of an administration or a jurisdiction that I have ever been under that I didn't violate. I really can't. But I brought my own IV. I wasn't going to go to a hospital. I wasn't going to go check in. And I wasn't going to bring somebody to my room that later could have a Twitter handle and wants to get in the good graces of Dan Hooker and company. So I brought my own guy. So nobody ever asked me any questions. I mean, I'm just sharing with you. I don't imagine that Islam, who doesn't seem like a twisted person, but if he's going to be in this case, he knows that he's in violation. It's worth it to him. Whatever he needs, it's worth it to him. And they're just going to bring in some random stranger, not have them sign anything, not put the fear of God in them. You ever hung out with them boys from Dagestan? Like, have you ever done that? Have you ever been in a room where you got all these Abe Lincoln guys? They all got the same blank stare on? They don't smile? You're telling me that a nurse walked into that room, went over the closet, got out a coat hanger, hung this on the top of the door, as we cheated the guy in a main event in the biggest fight in the history of Perth. It's a lot to believe. It's a lot to accept. I feel very confident in telling you said nurse is never going to come out. I also feel confident in telling you whoever got this information to Dan Hooker, Dan believes it to be true, but whoever got this information to Dan Hooker is a nut rider trying to gain favor. That's what I think.